Hey guys, so I'm going to be reviewing submissions for the recent score challenge event that I hosted. I'm going to be looking at the review submissions first, and then I'll look at the clear submissions. So this is the first review submission. It looks like he's using Teen Gojo. Let's see what the team comp is. Yeah, this is a very standard team comp. This is a really solid strategy where you have Saki, taunt, and then die with this recollection that gives your team plus 10% damage dealt after she goes away. So this is a really smart strat that you can use to maximize your score. Okay, so hitting. Okay, she taunts here. Okay, activates Pride on turn 4. Okay. 1 Gojo self buff. 2 Gojo self buffs. Okay, 3, good. He should have used skill 3 there for more damage. But either way, so 3 self buffs on Gojo, and then he's gonna ult here. So he actually would have done more damage if he had skill 3 last turn, but I mean this should do a good amount as well. At least in terms of the score event, skill 3ing before you ult is more damage, or a higher score, with Teen Gojo specifically. Okay, pretty decent score. Obviously, because he's not green, he doesn't get those massive buffs that green does. But still, pretty good score. Very solid. That was what, was he A1 or A2? A0, okay, that makes sense. Okay. Rotation was good. The only thing you need to change is on the second turn of the debuff window, you use skill 3 instead of using another skill 2. And that would result in your score being higher. Okay, the next one comes from Deb. Oh, so this one I opened on YouTube already. Oh, he added some music. That's cool. I didn't even see the comp, but okay, it looks like he's also using the Saki taunt strat. So this is a smart thing to do because he's using HP Gojo in the backup, and I think the point of that is to allow Degumi to charge up his ult while HP Gojo doesn't lose his turns, right? And then he's using Saki to buff these people's damage after she dies. Which honestly, because this recollection only gives a buff to the people on the field when this character dies, it's not like that relevant. You're buffing their damage by 10%. Which, I mean, it's not nothing, it's better than nothing, right? So it will raise your score. But the bigger effect that Saki is having here is stalling a few turns out so that Degumi can get ult gauge, and then HP Gojo can come in without allowing him to set up his burst window better. Because otherwise, if HP Gojo starts on the main team, it's really hard, right? Because you have 7 turns to get Degumi's ult off and then get the burst turn off. And it's not all going to work out in 7 turns like that. This music's kind of loud. Okay. Okay. So now Gojo comes in. Yaga starts buffing. Okay. Ult. Everything looks good so far. Nice. So he's using a damage dealing recollection on Gakuganji to add more damage. I don't actually know how the math works out there. I don't know if that's better than just having a team-wide buff that makes Gojo do more damage. But yeah, maybe. It's interesting at the very least. Yeah, the rotation was good with the comp that was used, so this was perfect. Nice, big crit. This is probably an A1, yeah, A1 HP Gojo. So the end score is probably around 64 million. Yeah, nice. 64 million, 200k. Pretty solid score. Of course, this is with A1 HP Gojo, so it doesn't count for the challenge, but it's still a pretty high score. And then we'll look at Slushy Fresh. That's the next one for review. His also uses A1 HP Gojo, which is why he submitted a review instead of a clear submission. The comp is looking good, just debuffer. I'm assuming he doesn't have Domain Megumi, because otherwise, of course, Domain Megumi is better in one of these slots. Okay. So first of all, using Unity in score challenges is usually not recommended because you can get your ults off and time your rotations pretty easily because the bosses don't do that much damage. But I'm assuming he's doing it in this case because he wants to get everyone's ult up as fast as he can so that he can enter the burst phase as soon as he can, since he's using HP Gojo in the main team. So a better version of this comp would have been like the previous two submissions, using a really low level like unit here that can just die while taunting, and then have HP Gojo come in after when the rest of your team is ready to set up for the debuff phase. Or the burst phase, sorry. But because he's doing this, that's why he's using Unity, which makes sense. Okay, you already used one pride stack. I see. Okay. Yeah, so because we use this strategy where HP Gojo is on the main team and not in the backup, we're forced to use HP Gojo to kill the boss as soon as possible, which means we can't set up a the ideal rotation for this burst phase with him, right? Because ideally what you want to do is on this turn here, right before you kill the boss, you want to kill him with someone that's not HP Gojo, and then use HP Gojo's skill 2 to give him a self buff leading into the debuff phase. You do that so that on this first turn in debuff phase, you're able to use a pride buffed skill 3 on Gojo for a lot of damage, and then you can skill 2 and then ult, right? So that would be the ideal burst rotation with HP Gojo during a down phase. But because we're using HP Gojo in the main team and we had to use him to help kill the boss in the first place, it makes it really hard to make that happen. So whenever you're using HP Gojo or Blue Gojo in a score challenge, it's really good to keep in mind that you probably don't want to have them start off in the main team. It makes setting up really difficult for maximum score. It also looks like we didn't even use perfect sync, so this was kind of a dead recollection in this case as well, right? So ideally you'd want to make sure that you're using recollections that your comp will actually utilize in order to make him do the most damage. There was also no real purpose in mutual trust here. It didn't really seem like it did anything, so for that as well, it's good to make sure that your recollections are actually doing something. You don't really need this because you have plenty of time to save up curse energy on all your units, so having this extra 10 CE at the beginning isn't really that relevant. Okay. Now, Mika. Yep, this is also a review, and looks like he's also using a taunt strategy. So as you can see, this is a pretty common trend. I'm glad that people are catching on to how good this is. You have to use HP Gojo in the backup. Obviously his is A5, level 125 stabbed, so his is going to be doing a lot more damage. Nice. It's gonna skip to when it's close to the... Okay, so HP Gojo comes in. Nice. We use skill 2 just so that HP Gojo doesn't do too much damage. Or doesn't do any damage. Okay, nice. Interesting. Okay. So ideally in this scenario, if you can set up your team to work in this way, what's best to do is to actually have SSR Yaga ult on this turn to kill the boss with Domain Megami. Because SSR Yaga's ult, all it does is, I mean, it does do a good amount of damage, but it adds 30% damage dealt for 4 turns, which means it's going to persist throughout the entire down phase, right? So having that set up before the down phase begins means that your Gojo is getting another 30% buff on top of the 3 debuffs that Yaga can put on the boss during the down phase. For a yellow team, it's debatable. You probably can just, or you should just save SSR Yaga's ult for the down phase because it adds that 50%, 45%, something like that debuff for yellow damage. But because HP Gojo doesn't do any yellow damage, saving it for the down phase is probably not the best thing to do in terms of raising your score. Okay, so now we probably skill 1, skill 3, and then skill 3. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really solid damage. Yeah, that's a good comp and a good strat. I'm actually not entirely sure whether ulting during the down phase is less or more damage than if you had ulted before for the 30% on Gojo and then used another team damage boosting recollection on him instead. like the combo archery one, something like that. It might have resulted in more. I would have to actually do the math with the formula, but yeah. Either way, this is definitely a strong comp, probably a very high score. But I do know the cap for A5 HP Gojo. If you have SSR Yaga and Domain Megumi, you can score for close to 100 million with A5 HP Gojo. So there's definitely a lot to. I don't know where his score went, but yeah, it says he said he got up to 91 million, but A5 HP Gojo can score a bit higher than that. So yeah, there probably is slight room for improvement there. Although I can't really test it myself because I don't have a Gojo that built. Okay. Next, oops, I'll close Discord. That's it for the review submissions. So now I'm gonna look into the clear submissions. First we'll look at Alex here. And we got a fellow Korean. Okay, finally a team that uses Teen Geto. Teen Geto is really, really good for score challenges because he does great damage of his own. And this fits within all the rules, so this is perfect. I'm assuming he didn't have SSR Yaga, but I do think even SR Yaga would have added more damage in this case. But Gakuganji is fine. It's not like Gakuganji is bad. And the reason SR Yaga adds more damage in this situation than Gakuganji does is because Gakuganji's debuffs, they're additive with Teen Geto's debuffs. And also, because the debuff phase or the down phase is only 3 turns, he doesn't really get to utilize the full strength of his S3. He only gets to put like around 113% debuff on the enemy, somewhere in that range. While SR Yaga can, add that 183% C-Tech, P-Tech buff, right? So for score challenges, SR Yaga would add more damage here. He's also employing the Saki taunt strat, which is perfect. So ideally here, you would want to use Live a Long Life. She doesn't need a taunt recollection because she can already taunt on her own in her kit, right? That's what's so great about her. Okay, so she dies here. Perfect. Nice. Nice. So really, I don't know if this was done intentionally, but a really good thing to keep in mind is that Teen Geto's skill 1, it gives him a crit rate and damage buff for the next turn. So using it right before you're about to enter the debuff phase is a really good thing to do. I'm assuming he's going to ult with Domain Megumi here to finish. Yep, perfect. Nice. Now skill 1, skill 3, skill 2, skill 3. Nice. We didn't get any crits there, which is unfortunate. Yeah, nice. This was, given the team comp, this is as good as you can get the rotation to be. And then a crit on the ult. And hopefully a crit on the HP Gojo ult as well. Oh, no crit there. But yeah, with the crit it would have been in like 36, 37 million probably. Maybe even 38 if it high rolled. Nice, that's a good score. It's going to be around 59.1 million. Okay, so we're going to record that because that part counts as a clear submission. So Alex so far at 59.15 million. Okay, now we'll look at Duarte V. Okay, A0 HP Gojo, A1 Teen Geto. Nice. This looks really good. Using R Toge and using the 3-turn taunt on him is really good as well, because he will die by turn 3. So this is a fine strat. Of course, the Saki one is a little bit better because it adds 10% damage to the rest of your team over here, which, although it doesn't matter much, if you're using Teen Geto, it could actually raise his damage by a semi-meaningful amount, so not bad to do. We're using SR Yaga here. So this is the same comp as the last person, but then this person uses SR Yaga instead of Gakuganji, which should result in a higher score, assuming they buff correctly. So I guess this is the perfect way to kind of show you guys what I mean by, or kind of proving what I mean when I said that SR Yaga adds more damage than Gakuganji in this specific team setup. Okay. Yeah, so what this person just did, using the skill 2 on Teen Geto, it would have been better to use skill 1 so that Teen Geto gets a small damage and crit rate buff for the next turn. But it's not a huge deal, it's just a very small optimization that you could have made. Dies here, yep. Now skill 1, skill 2, skill 2, skill 3. Nice. Yeah, this is a good strat. He's gonna combo ults with Geto and Gojo. This should be a higher score than the last one, assuming he did reset for crits and stuff. Nice. Oh, that was a very low roll crit. What was that? 30 million? 30.9 million. That is interesting. 112. What are his skills? Huh. Skill 2. Yeah, that is a very low roll. Or maybe he doesn't have his grades. Maybe he doesn't have any grades into grade 12. That could be part of it as well. But yeah, that is a really low roll Gojo ult. So you could have scored for a bit higher, probably. Because A0 HP Gojo can hit for, even without stamp, like 36, 37 million with a good crit. Which means your score would have been around 62, 63 million if you had reset for a high roll crit. Okay, so Alex's score is still higher, so he's going to stay at the #1 spot for now. Next one is A-Man. Look at his submission. This one also has no sound. A0 HP Gojo, stamped. Very nice. Using UG. Okay. So, again, using HP Gojo in the main team, and then having UG clean up phase 2, I guess, is the idea. There's no real need to, because the boss is so weak that these 3 units can usually just clear phase 2 as well. For the most part, although I guess it depends on who they are. In this case, maybe you do need another damage dealer, but ideally it would have been better to find a way to have HP Gojo in backup. Looks like, yeah, this setup is good though. Like this combo of, because Momo is a damage dealt buffer. SR Yaga is a C-Tech and P-Tech buffer. And then Gakuganji is a C-Tech and P-Tech damage taken increase debuffer, right? So all 3 of these buff/debuffs, they interact multiplicatively with each other. So this is a very good combo setup here. We'll skip the setup phase. Looks like he's also using HP Gojo. Yeah, he's just using his skill 1 to slowly kill the boss. So because of this, he can't use his skill 2 during this turn, because if he was able to kill the boss with one of these other 3 units here, then he would be able to just use skill 2 on HP Gojo, so that entering the down phase, Gojo has that 100% self buff that he can use on his next skill 3. But because he has to use skill 1 here, he's going to go into the down phase without that buff on him. No, he should be using... Oh no, I guess it's Momo. So yeah, skill 1's the right play, never mind. Actually, even if it's Momo, you probably still just skill 2 to get more damage on this. Oh wait, he didn't even... he used skill 2 instead of skill 3 on HP Gojo here. So the rotation probably was not ideal. You should have used your skill 3 on that turn so that you could skill 2 this turn and then ult on the next turn. Yeah, so you just use skill 2 and then skill 2 again, which doesn't do anything, right? So there was 1 turn of damage wasted there. And then the combo ult, I'm assuming. Yeah, I like the team comp a lot. Really good recollection usage here. I like everything that you did. The only thing that I would comment on is the rotation was there were some slight optimizations you could have made in order to increase your score a bit more. You honestly probably could have found a way to kill the boss with Gakuganji, depending on how you set up your buffs and stuff beforehand, and then make sure you skill 2 on HP Gojo before entering the burst phase, so that again on this turn here, you're able to use skill 2 here, which again, because his buff only lasts 1 turn on himself, it doesn't do anything if you use skill 2 on this turn, because you're ulting on the 3rd turn, right? So you'd want to use your skill 3 here, ideally. And his score was 33 million. I like the setup a lot again, really good unit usage. But yeah, make note of those adjustments and you'll score higher next time. Okay, now turn. Let's see. Oh, that's really interesting. I like this a lot, using Mahito with Pride. Yeah, no, I like this setup a lot. These 2 debuffers work really well together as well, because their debuffs are multiplicative. His are damage taken increase, his are C-Tech and P-Tech damage taken increase, which apply or interact multiplicatively with each other. Gakuganji, again, if you're going to use these 2, you should probably just use Yaga here. If you're going to use... Because Geto's debuffs are additive with Gakuganji's debuffs, right? So having them together is less effective than bringing in a different type of buff instead. It's a very new team comp though. I like this idea a lot. Mahito usually is not the best for score challenges because his ult just doesn't hit hard enough. But it's at least cool to see something new, so. Okay. Okay. Okay, interesting. So we're going past the first Pride cycle, and we're gonna go into the second one, it looks like. Yeah. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Oh god, you got 4-man stun. Okay, nobody died. It's good. Now we ult here, yeah. Okay. Oh, I see. So I'm assuming he uses skill 3 here and then ults on the last turn. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so you would have done a lot more damage having SR Yaga in this Gakuganji slot instead of him. Yeah. Yeah, your team would have done, or your Mahito would have done a lot more damage. I'm excited to see how much this hits for, to be honest. Wow, 15 million, not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, very cool strategy. I like the idea of using Mahito. I think for the next score challenge, I will, yeah, I'll show you guys, I'll make like a showcase of how to exactly maximize score in it, because I think it would be very helpful. I might not host like a competition and just show you guys how to best do it in a video. Okay, pretty good score. I think with SR Yaga it would have been a little bit higher, probably like 32, 33 million roughly. But yeah, solid score, good strat. Next one is Laya. Let's see. Oh, blue Gojo. With, oh wait, green Yuji. Oh, it looks like he's just there. He's not really going to do any participating. Yeah, this is cool though. Using green Yuji, Team Geto, very solid. Once green Yuji gets buffed, this combo is going to be very deadly. So look forward to that for anyone that likes green Yuji. I really like him a lot too. I'd use him a lot more if he wasn't so bad in global. Okay, I'm gonna skip forward a bit. You start buffing on turn 3, which means we'll be max buffed by turn 6. Oh, got stunned. Okay. So, because green Yuji's, let me check something real quick. So because green Yuji's, I'm pretty sure his skill 3 is a 2-turn debuff and his skill 2 is a 2-turn, or skill 2 is a 3-turn. Yeah, so his skill 2 buffs his crit rate and black flash rate by whatever these numbers are for 3 turns. And his skill 3 decreases the enemy's crit hit resist for 34% for 2 turns, right? So if you're not going to just skill 2 twice to make sure that your ult like black flashes on all 3, if you're going to use skill 3 on one of these turns, it should be on the second turn. So it should be on the second turn of the down phase is what I mean. Because this is a 2-turn debuff, while this buff is a 3-turn buff, right? So using this during the first turn right here, and then using this during the second turn of the down phase would lead to you doing more damage on this skill and would lead to your ult getting the benefit of both this buff and this buff. I hope that makes sense. Nice. Skill 2's here, right? Oh wow. Okay, so he doesn't skill 2 at all. Okay. If you're not gonna skill 2 at all, then this is fine. Yeah. I just wonder how reliably you're going to Black Flash if you don't use any skill 2's. Okay. Adult Time is really good on Geto, so I do like this strat. Whether it does more damage than non-standard or not, it really depends. And it's very, very close from what I experimented with. Yeah. Yeah, as you can see, the second and third hit, they both didn't Black Flash, right? Which loses you quite a bit of damage. So ideally, you want to make sure that you're using your skill 2 at least once during your down phase. It's a cool run though. I think it's very nice that you guys submitted something like this. Yeah. In future, I don't really know what direction I want to take these events, because they do get a good amount of interest, but it's not like anything crazy. So I kind of want to know your guys' opinions in the comments, if you've even made it this far into the video. Do you guys want me to, like, what I can do is I can take the comps you guys give me, and I can, if I have those units, I can show you guys the best way to then like score with those specific comps and stuff like that. I think that'd be a pretty cool idea. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you have any other suggestions, because instead of making it a competition like this where you have to beat my score, I could just do this as more of a send me your submissions, and then I will show you how to squeeze out the maximum bit of damage within those team comps that you guys use. I'll just pick like a few of them and then showcase gameplay that uses them inside the score challenge. So I do think that's a pretty nice idea. I might do it for the next score challenge, for the blue one that's coming up. So yeah, if you guys have any thoughts on that, please let me know. Okay, so this is Laya. And then Arun. Where is Arun? Oh, Arun was in this Discord. Oh yeah, so these submissions aren't valid because they didn't send the video. Not that they were high enough score anyways, but yeah. So make sure you send me a video that fills all the rules that I set when you're submitting. Okay, so A0 Gojo uses Yuji. Solid. This is a very good team comp. Yeah, so again, this person's using an excellent shape and unity here because they have HP Gojo on the main team and they need to get their ults up ASAP, right? But it's a lot more damage if you put team damage boosting recollections on these two instead and then have him in the backup. So that by the time he comes in, they're ready to go. And then you don't need to have these quote unquote wasted recollection slots on these two. But the comp is very good. I like this a lot. So we're just ult rushing, and then we're killing. Yep. I'm assuming we've been Yaga buffing since, yeah, turn 3, turn 4, yeah, or hopefully since turn 2. Oh, we actually didn't use it on turn 2, which means that on turn 5 here, we only have 3 Yaga buffs, which is not ideal because you'd want, you know, 4 by this point. Okay. Even if we had started buffing on turn 2, we still would have had enough cursed energy to do another skill 2 on this turn. So yeah, that would have been the best thing to do if you're going to be setting up your burst window in this exact way. Yeah. If you're going to be combo ulting with Yaga like this with his ult, you might as well use Perfect Sync because this is a 15% damage dealt buff for 2 turns. Perfect Sync is a 35% damage dealt buff for 1 turn, so it's much better. The only caveat with perfect sync is that you have to ult to use it, but you're ulting here anyways, so you might as well just use perfect sync instead. Yeah, nice, solid. Around 51 million roughly. Okay, good score, good comp, but again, just a slight optimization would have been to use someone that can taunt and die in this slot and have him in backup, and then use damage boosting recollections on these two. Maybe move Death by Wasa over to Gakuganji, put Skies connected on Degumi, and then use perfect sync on Yaga. That would have raised your score by probably at least like 4, no, probably not 4, maybe like 2 million or so, roughly. So the highest score is Alex. And what my offer was that I was going to take the highest score, and then I was going to guide that person in a one-on-one to show them how to get the highest possible score they can. So Alex, if you're watching this, I'm going to reach out to you on Discord as well, and we can set up a time for the next score event, and I'm going to help you get your maximum score on that event. We'll look through your box, we'll look at your characters, we'll look at your recollections, and then we'll find the highest possible damage we can do given the things that you have. So yeah, congrats Alex on getting that. In terms of my score, so this is my box. A0 HP Gojo, I used A0 Teen Gato as well. And my score is here. 67.39 million. So given that the highest score was 59.15, no one did beat my score this time. Again, I don't really know what direction I want to take this content, so if you guys have suggestions, please let me know. I do think what I just said earlier would be cool, where I can take comps that you guys give me and then improve on them and then make a video showcasing that. Or I can continue to do this kind of challenge where you guys compete with me for score, but I don't know what would be more helpful or engaging. So yeah, let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye guys.